I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, after the, Super Bowl 52, as awesome as that was, and like, I don't think anything's ever going to match that. But afterwards, you're like, well, if we're being honest, that was like definitely a little fluky. Just a little bit. And you're like, yeah, I mean, we still have, like, at the time it was like, you hope Wentz comes back and he'll come back well from that injury. That didn't happen. And it was like, they have some pieces, blah, blah, blah. They should be okay. But it's like, you didn't really think that they were like this emerging powerhouse. But this team, I mean, so many of these players are so young. I mean, they're like that whole defense practically, a lot of the pieces on offense, it's like they're set up really well. And I don't see any reason why they couldn't be back there next year or the year after or whatever,
Yeah, I think after Super Bowl 52, a lot of those guys you knew weren't going to be around for that much longer, right? You had, like, Brent Selleck was on that team, you know what I'm saying? Jason Peters was on that team, even though he was injured again, like he always is.
For even LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi, they were gone that next year. Like,
Jay
that whole running
Ajayi's
back
knees
room
were torn up, you know what I'm saying? The receivers, we had Alshon.
Like,
who got the job
Justin
done.
Aguilar.
But, like, him, Aguilar, Torrey Smith, none of them are game changers, you know what I mean? Defensively, we had Jenkins, who was around for a few more years, playing at a high level. I mean, Ronald Darby ended up being washed pretty shortly thereafter.
None of, like, the corners we had really were anything special. Yeah, it was...
Yeah, that 2017 team, it was built entirely on the strength of... You had Doug, who at the time was this hotshot new coach. You had Wentz, who, even though he tore his ACL, had been playing at MVP level, and that was it. And that game was a lot closer, right? Like,
I mean,
that
was a shootout.
And I'm not taking anything away from that team. I still think if I were to compare the two playoff runs, I still like that one more. I'm probably in the minority on that, but
probably like the magic of it more because
So here's the deal. Here's why I say that. It's the first one.
Right.
It's the first Super Bowl.
All right. That's why.
You can't
never do that again.
And it's all with a backup quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was like, I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
you're an underdog in every game.
You can't write that. Like if you were a Hollywood screenwriter and someone like hired you to like, we want you to write a script about the Eagles winning their first Super Bowl, and you turned in that, they'd be like, oh, come on, you're playing up the Rocky thing a little too much here.
Right.
This is a little ridiculous.
Yeah,
like it was just like completely unfathomable. That's never going to be matched.
So here's what I'm going to say is that was more like a storybook, whereas this team, it was kind of like a dream, but it was more realistic.